Bills fans, I'm not even going to attempt to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you a white lie. I'm not going to tell you a partial lie. The truth is, this was likely the worst season y'all will have in the last 5 years.
Shut up the Bills! It's not outside! It's not outside!
Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, mafia, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Told me now listen, everyone play their position. Buffalo got a tradition. They say we tripping, they better get out our way. Top of the table, we flipping. We on a mission. Got an unstoppable team. Continue to follow your dream by any means. Buffalo, get in the Super Bowl ring. Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, mafia, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Mafia up in your city, time to get gritty. Screaming and yelling, we bugging. Look at the red and blue.
This is an MVP year for Josh Allen. As an MVP voter, I said this last week. Josh Allen, he looks like an MVP. When you vote for MVP, and I can speak for myself, I think I'm one of 50 voters, you look at a couple things. Who's the best team in football? Who's the best player on that team in football? What do they look like as the best player on that team in football? And how much talent is around that best player on that best team in football?
And a good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Coast to Coast podcast. I am your co-host, Beyond 716, and as always here with Whittle 2K. And we are here, and I can tell you, Whittle, we've done a lot of podcasts together. I can never remember a podcast where I feel like we almost have too much to discuss, right? We have a multitude of topics to get into. Just to quickly set up, of course, we're going to go over the disappointing end to the Bills season on Saturday. We'll get into the game. We'll break that down. We'll talk about, for most, the shocking firing of Sean McDermott, and equally the shocking press conference today. And we'll maybe just get into maybe who we feel would be the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills. So just setting us all up here, Whittle, how are you on this fine Wednesday evening?
Doing great, man. Actually, I'm not doing great.
Yeah, I feel it. Yeah.
This is I wasn't expecting to have this show right now, especially after beating the Jaguars last week. I was not expecting for this podcast this week to be talking about anything other than an AFC Championship game. I looked at the matchup between us and the Broncos. I thought we had the edge at quarterback. I thought we had the edge at running back. I thought that we had the slight edge at offensive line. Obviously, their receivers, I gave them receiver school. We definitely had the tight ends. Their defensive line's better. I think our linebackers and their linebackers are pretty even. And I'll give them the nod in the secondary. But the head coach, I thought the head coaching thing was a little advantage for them, but not a huge advantage. I thought that it was an advantage. Obviously, they're playing at home, so that's plus for them. They're rested. We're not. We're kind of limping into the game, but ultimately we lose a 3-point game in overtime, and we lose that game. after the Bills turned the football over 5 times, 4 in regulation, and 1 in overtime. The 1 in overtime, obviously, the controversial call of it being an interception, or was it a catch? Personally, you know, um, I've seen it both. I've seen it multiple ways. I did not think that that was an interception. But at the same time, I also didn't think that the that Riley Moss committed a penalty on Brandon Cooks until I went back and watched it. And yeah, he did pull him before the ball got there. If you want to say the ball was uncatchable, like for me, I say you don't throw the flag because the ball's uncatchable.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the Trey White call was correct. I thought the Taron Johnson call was a little ticky tacky because we kind of been, but again, placement of the ball. The ball was placing, close enough to the receiver where you could make the decision as a referee. I see how you make that decision. That the ball was close enough for Cortland Sutton to catch it if Taron Johnson wasn't physical with him before the ball got there. I'm not gonna sit here and belabor the officiating, because ultimately, when you lose a turnover battle by 4, you don't deserve to win that game, and that's just the hard truth. The hard truth is, when you play loose like that with the football on the road against the number 1 team, the number 1 seed in the AFC, you deserve to lose that game. And let's be honest, this was not a team effort in turning the football over. James Cook lost the football on an early drive where we had an opportunity to go up 14-3.
Mm-hmm.
To the Denver Broncos, they really put a good hit on them. Jarred the ball loose. They recovered. They get the ball. They go down the field. They score. Makes it a 10-7 game versus what would have been a 14-3 game. And 14-3, the game goes totally different. But 150 50 total or all-purpose yards. Yeah, let's not even put that up. John.
No,
the new Bills.
No, that's not happening. It's welcome, trolls. We love having you here. Just keep on coming. We love you. So, but Whittle,
we're gonna put that young man in timeout.
Yeah, that's a timeout situation.
Yeah. So, so ultimately, this falls, in my opinion, this game falls at the feet of the quarterback. Josh Allen turned the football over 4 times. Now, I'm not going to say, like, 4 of those turnovers, they're not all his fault. I think the first 2, 100%.
100%.
Totally, like, inexcusable turnover. The fumble right before halftime, we get the ball after halftime. He fumbles before halftime with 16 seconds left in the game. I mean, in the half. In Denver territory, that gives him an opportunity to kick a field goal. And instead of us going into halftime down 17-10, we're down 20-10. That, to me, was egregious. And it's not like the fumble was a great play by the defense. You want to give them credit for the hustle? Absolutely. The credit to the Denver defense, to the Broncos defense, for hustling on that play and not allowing, just not allowing somebody else to get in there and, somebody else will make the play. The play's already passed. No, I think it was Benito or Cooper, one of those guys. They chased Josh down from behind, and he was being loose with the football, and he paid for it. The team paid for it because he fumbled. The Denver Broncos recovered, and they were able to kick a field goal right before halftime to go up 2 scores. We got the ball back on the first drive. Literally, for whatever reason, they decided to put Shakir in. They decided to motion Shakir and use him as the pin and or the shield guy and to push Benito into Deion Dawkins. Shakir woefully failed at it. Instead of pushing him instead of getting on the side of him or having a good angle and taking away that edge, forcing him into Deion Dawkins, he gives up the edge and forces and allows Benito to get even further away from Deion and get a clear angle to Josh Allen. And Josh didn't see him. It was blindside. It was a blindside hit. Strips the football. Not only did he tackle him, not only did he get the sack, but he went for the football, which is smart. The ball pops out. Denver recovers. And then they're in scoring range yet again. Now, credit to the defense for not giving up a touchdown there. They only gave up 3 points there, but it's 23-10, and you've got like less than a half to play. The team locks in. Josh. Actually, no. Let's get back to the other turnover. So we've heard this so many times about the Bills needing the defense to make plays. What's up, dog? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. We miss you on the spaces, dog.
We really do. We really do.
Yeah. Yeah, brother. If you can pop on, pop up, man. But you look at the interception that Josh Allen threw. Samuel's running downfield. He's down. He's down like the middle. He's down. He's deep down the field, probably about 30 yards or whatever, down the middle of the field. Hufanga is recovering. He's got his back turned, but he's full speed. He's running full speed trying to catch up to Samuel. For whatever reason, Josh does not see PJ Locke lurking in the deep third or the deep half, literally watching his eyes. As Josh gears up to throw it, PJ Locke starts to close. Josh still throws the football. PJ Locke undercuts the ball, takes it away. And that was a bad interception. But that's interception. What bothers me so much about that interception is it happened 3 plays after you get a defensive line interception from Deion Walker. He makes a play. The defense makes a play.
Yeah. Do you think Josh underthrew that ball, Whittle? I wanted to ask your opinion.
No.
So it really wasn't an underthrow. He couldn't lead even a little more further. In that case, just
the ball play. Okay, if Josh puts more on it and he leads the ball more to the left and further up the field, sure, that gives Samuel an opportunity to run under it. But I mean, it's not a good read. It's essentially double coverage. Like it's essentially double coverage. So you'd have to throw it away from the zone, and I just don't feel like he needed to do that there. I understand it. I believe it was a 3rd down, but you had Dalton Kincaid right in your face. Just throw the ball to Kincaid. There was nobody around it, and you don't know what happens. And this is something that we've talked about all year. You don't know what's going to happen. If you throw the ball underneath, Kincaid catches the football, turns upfield, maybe somebody misses a tackle. Maybe he forces somebody to miss a tackle. Maybe a guy slips. Maybe Kincaid has a great angle and is able to get to the 1st down. Or maybe he gets to the point where it's 4th and 1. But either way, it's a safer play. And, you put yourself in position to live for another play. We didn't do that. Josh didn't do that. Earlier in the game, first drive, Denver, driving down the field, they're running the football, throwing the football, they're doing whatever, pretty much whatever they want, right? They get down the field. Actually, no, they weren't. I'm not gonna say they're doing whatever they want. we got them to a couple of third downs. They made some plays. You know, Sean Payton's a great play caller.
Yes, he is.
We get them down into the red zone. They hand the football off. RJ Harvey goes up the field. He gets the ball knocked out of his hands. It's a fumble. Buffalo recovers. Flag on the play. Larry Ogunjobi offside. We lose that turnover. What was upsetting about that play was, why did he have a jersey? Fidarian Mathis had earned that jersey. He didn't get that opportunity. I feel like Fidarian Mathis is a better player in this defense than Larry Ogunjobi is, and I felt like he should have been there. But at the end of the day, you know, that was a turnover that we should have had. We didn't. The interception of PJ Locke, super egregious, especially after a interception by Deion Walker. AJ Epinesa almost had a defensive lineman interception. Josh Allen carrying the ball like a loaf of bread or a clutch bag, running up the field right before halftime. Doesn't slide, doesn't tuck the football, loses the football. They kick a field goal. We're down we're down 3 scores. We're down 3 scores. And, before you can, before the second half, before you even get back to the seat with your snacks, we're down 23-10. And, what do you do at that point? Well, what happens at that point is the defense locks in. We get some stops. Josh takes care of the football, gets the ball out to some of his playmakers. They make plays. We get down the field. We put points up. Keon Coleman catches a slant, breaks a tackle, gets into the end zone. And we end up taking the lead back. We get 14 unanswered. It's 24-23. We force another punt. We get the ball back, drive down the field. I think there were there might have been 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. And we don't get a touchdown. We end up getting a field goal to make the score 27-23. The defense gives it up. The Broncos get down the field very quickly. Key play on that drive was the 3rd and 11, where we had watched all second half. We watched the entire second half where, on big downs or money downs, Sean McDermott sent the blitz. The Bills sent the blitz at Bo Nix that forced him to get the ball out a little quicker. He had some missed throws. He made some mistakes. He missed some throws. Guys, weren't able to make plays. And, we were getting off the field. But on this 3rd and 11, for whatever reason, he decides to drop everybody out in coverage. Well, Bo Nix had forever to throw it. Taron Johnson makes an egregious decision to cover the flat on 3rd and 11. He takes the 5-yard flat and abandons his hook zone, which would have been sitting right where I believe it was Cortland Sutton runs the dig route.
Yep.
For 14 yards, and it's a first down. And we get off the field right there at 27-23. If we get off the field right there, we're winning that game in regulation.
Agreed.
But, defensive mishap, they end up scoring a touchdown, and we get the ball again before regulation ends. Drive the field. Dawson Knox is open on a intermediate crosser. And if Josh hits this throw, he scores. Josh airmails the throw. He misses Dalton Kincaid. He misses Dawson Knox. not by a lot, but he missed them. And that's a throw you have to hit, right? That's a throw to send you. That's a throw to send your team to the AFC Championship game. You hit that throw, the game's over.
Yep.
Because Knox catches that football, he walks into the end zone. We're celebrating. This is a very different show today.
Very different show.
But it doesn't happen. We end up having to settle for a field goal. Go to overtime. The defense gets a stop. Bills get the football, and then the play. The play happens, right? Driving the field, 3rd and 10 or whatever. Throw the ball down to Cooks, who's on one-on-one on the slot. Whether you think it's a catch or an interception, they ruled it an interception. Denver gets the football, gets in a field goal range, kicks a field goal, and we're done. So that's my recap of the game. I mean, we can get into the post game stuff if you like.
Oh, absolutely, we will. We have we thought the game was going to be the main course, but that's our appetizer for our show today. You know what I was just thinking? I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the game, but if I told you last week, you know what? Will, I just want you to close your eyes and visualize this, okay? Josh Allen, 39 attempts, 283 yards, and 3 scores. James Cook, 24 carries for $117. Dalton Kincaid, 6 for 83 and a touch. And the leading rusher in Denver has 29 yards, and it's Bo Nix on 12 carries. I think the only thing that you would be saying is, am I going with Le'Shawn to the game in New England next week? Right? I mean, if you look at the numbers, it's undeniable. And I couldn't agree more about the Josh Allen fumble before the half. We love Josh Allen, but again, we know 17 is not immune to critique here on our podcast and never will be. That is one that I will never probably get over in terms of I just don't understand in any way, shape, or form what could he possibly was he looking to lateral the ball for a quick second? You know how he loves to lateral the ball and stuff like that. But even in that situation, you take one look deep, right? You don't see it, throw it away. Just down the ball, go into the half. That's it. It was a very, very simple thing. At this point in his career, Whittle, those things should not be happening. I don't care who the coordinator is. I don't care who the coach is. I don't care who owns the team. Right? Doesn't matter. Josh should know better than that at this year 8 in his career at the level that he plays at. Just completely unacceptable at every level. Think how big those 3 points were. It could have changed the entire complexion of the second half. I mean, we usually do well in our double dip right before the half, but we went the opposite this time.
They double dipped.
They double dipped. Yeah, and we were set up to double dip, but it did not work out in our favor, and just a very tough loss to take at so many levels. And again, give credit to Denver in some cases. Listen, they did what they had to do. They made the plays when they had to. At times, but this is a game that I will always remember and say, yeah, we in my mind, it's unacceptable that you lose to Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. It's one thing, Whittle, but to lose, no offense to Bo Nix, but Bo Nix in his second year, I can't accept it as a fan right now, and it's been one of the more difficult losses in the 42 years that I've been involved as a fan of this team.
Yeah. So before we get into the post game stuff, I'm gonna say some things of my assessment of where we are, or where this, or my assessment of the situation. It's year 8 of Josh Allen's career. He is unquestionably a top 3 quarterback. At this point of his career, there's certain things that no one should have to tell you. At the level that you play at on a normal basis, no one should have to tell you certain things. No one should have to tell you that. No one should have to tell him about ball security. It's the playoffs. If you lose, you go home. Your season's done. And to carry the football that way before halftime was just completely egregious. There's no excuse for that. And for years, if we go all the way back to 2019, what do we have? A 16-0 lead or whatever it was. I think it was 16 or 19, something like that. And, second half, the Texans come back and we lose the game in overtime, right? Then you go to 2020. We win the first two games. We're kind of ahead of schedule. Get to the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, who had beaten us earlier that year, and just go out there and absolutely get destroyed. I think it was like 38-22 or 24.
38.
Whatever
Yeah, it wasn't even that close because we were down like 38-15, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
I think it was 38-22 at the end. Like we scored a late touchdown or something.
We did. So, I think it was 38-24. Yeah.
Okay, so we must have scored a touchdown and got
the two. Yeah.
So I have an issue with like that's where you say, okay, we're ahead of schedule, no problem. Then you get to 2021, the infamous 13 seconds game, right? Where we're going back and forth with the Chiefs. And Josh Allen walks up the field, 13 seconds left, and 30 seconds left in the game, up by 3, and we lose that game in overtime because the defense could not stop the Kansas City Chiefs from getting 50 yards or 40 yards in 30 seconds. The defense failed. 2022, tough year, DeMar Hamlin stuff. Josh didn't have a great playoff. The defense really wasn't great either. I mean, they forced some turnovers against Miami, but I mean, not enough. We ended up winning the game, but I mean, it was a really sloppy game. And then we're at home again, playing against the Cincinnati Bengals. They come in and they just destroy us, 27-10. Like, it wasn't close. We looked like we didn't even deserve to be on the same field with them. Offense was bad. Defense was bad. Offensive line was horrible. Total team loss. 2023. Divisional game against the Chiefs. We have a, body. Like, I mean, we're limping into that game defensive. Missing multiple guys, all of this stuff. Josh actually plays okay. He has an okay game. Him and Mahomes kind of both had okay games. Nobody really had a great game. We end up losing that game 23-20. Offense has the ball. No, what was it? 27-23, I think it was. It was 27-23. Or 27-24, I think we lost that game. Offense has the ball late, a little over 2 minutes to go. I'm thinking, all right, cool. Like, we got the football. Let's bleed as much clock as possible and, kick the field goal to tie the game. I mean, let's bleed as much clock as possible, score a touchdown, get out of there. We're going to the AFC Championship. Done. Right? So we have an opportunity to I believe it was first down, or it might have been second. No, I think it was second down. We have an opportunity to take a shot at the end zone. But the smarter play right there would have been to take the drag route. Stephon Diggs going across the middle. He doesn't. Josh doesn't do it. He takes he takes another second or whatever, takes the shot in the end zone to Shakir. Chris Jones makes a play by overpowering Deion Dawkins, pushes Deion Dawkins into Josh Allen's lap. The throw is off, incomplete. We don't score a touchdown there. We don't burn enough clock. We kick a field goal to tie the game and miss. Chiefs get the football, run a couple of plays, get some first down, kneel it out, game over. That game was marred by a bunch of drops too. Like Trent Sherfield, who I had high hope for, he sucked that game. He dropped the ball. He dropped a couple of first downs in the second half. The first third down in the second half, Dawson Knox had a ball wide open, hit him in his hands, dropped the ball. Diggs, one of the most famous drops where he's running down the field, got a safety hanging on his leg. He leaps up to go catch the ball. Ball hits him in the numbers. Goes right through his arms. Missed it. No Gabe Davis in that game because Gabe got hurt. And we're missing a bunch of guys on defense. All in all, like that was a loss. 2024 AFC Championship game. Yeah, 2024 AFC Championship game. Josh didn't start out the game great. Locked in later. Defense really could do nothing. No Taylor Rapp, hurt the game before. No Christian Benford. He tried to give it a go. He lasted 12 snaps. Ends up back on the sideline with a concussion that he probably shouldn't have been cleared for anyway. But anyway, we get to the point where the game is in the balance. We have the ball with the opportunity to get down the field, score the go-ahead touchdown, and get to the Super Bowl. But we don't. We get fooled by a blitz from Spagnuolo. Josh Allen still makes a play to get the ball off. The ball hits Dalton Kincaid in his arms, and he drops it. He had he could have adjusted. He did adjust to come back to the ball. I mean, Josh had two DBs unblocked coming at him, so he gets the football off, and Kincaid has to adjust to come back to the football. But Kincaid's wide open. He literally could have caught that football, hit the ground, got up, and still ran, and he might have scored. But that was fourth down. We lose that down. Kansas City beats us again. And all of these years that we're losing these games, the defense is giving it up left and right. I mean, every time we score to go ahead, the defense is not getting the stop. They're not making them. They're barely making plays. Credit goes to Jordan Poyer for punching that ball out of Miko Hardman's hands before he crossed the end zone. Straight up. Great job. Like that, yes. Made a play. We'll take it. But nobody else made it's very few and far between that the defense made plays for us in the playoffs, especially against the Chiefs. Fast forward to this game. The defense is making plays. We're getting off the field. They're getting stops. They give up 3 points to start the second half and give up 7 on the last Broncos drive in the second half. And we can't get the last touchdown to win that game. You had 2 cracks at it. At 24-23, you had a crack at it to get the touchdown. You didn't. You got a field goal. Johnny, I see your comments, brother. We're gonna get to you. We're gonna get right to him, bro. We're gonna get right to him. So you go up 27-24 or 27-23. The defense gives up the touchdown. It's 30-27 now. We still have an opportunity before regulation to get it done. Get down the field, and we fail at getting a touchdown. So we kick the field goal and have to win it in overtime. And we don't win it in overtime. We lose. At what point do you start asking yourself, are we ever going to get it done? And I'm not saying this because I don't believe that we can get it done. I do believe that this team is due to get it done. But you have to really start asking yourself questions like, what's the problem? 17. This one's on you. Can you get it done? Can you deliver in those clutch moments? Because we've seen Mahomes do it. We've seen Burrow be unflappable in those moments. We've seen Matthew Stafford be unflappable in those moments. We've seen Jalen Hurts in these pressure moments be unflappable.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see Josh do it.
Yeah, I think it's I think one of the things too, Whittle, is I think we make this harder than we really have to make it a lot of the time, right? And there's so many reasons for that, right? It's the strange losses in the middle of the season. We feel like we talk about them every year, right? Losing to the likes of Zach Wilson or too many men on the field against Denver or this year against Atlanta, right? That puts us in these positions where instead of being a 6 seed where we have to win 3 straight games on the road, maybe we're a 2 seed or a 1 seed and we have these teams coming to our house, or maybe we get those bye weeks, right? That we haven't gotten for a number of reasons, right? Whether it's KC getting a bunch of great calls to get that 1 seed where I think we should have been the 1 seed last year, right? Or just or like I said, a little bit of Josh Allen here and there. Defense hasn't come through in the biggest of spots at times, right? It's just a little bit of everything.
I gotta stop you real quick. No. That what you're saying is exactly correct. For every other year besides this year.
Yeah.
This year, I hang this year at the feet of 17.
Mm-hmm.
I hang it at the feet of 17. And I know there are Bills fans that are listening or watching that are not gonna like this and you know, if you unfollow or don't want to watch going forward because you're being too critical, we wouldn't be here without Josh Allen. That's true. We would not be as good as we are without Josh Allen. 100% correct. 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I think the defense
We
did
also
enough this
wouldn't
game.
have lost
I agree with you.
the number of games we lost this year if it was not for Josh Allen. Every loss we had this year in the regular season, outside of the game against Philadelphia, Josh Allen had 2 turnovers. Every single one. Go check.
Mm-hmm.
Go check.
Yeah, he did.
Every single game.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did he have 2 turnovers, and now let's go to the Philly game. The turnovers he had were stupid. You had Spencer Hawes, Jackson Hawes wide open immediately. You throw that ball. If you throw that ball immediately, he is open. That's a first down at least. It's 2nd and 3. He catches that football. He gets up the field. It's at least a first down, possibly more. We're in the red zone. We're in the lower red zone looking to go in and score against a team that didn't complete a pass in the second half. A game where we held Saquon Barkley to under 70 yards rushing. You hold Philadelphia with all those all-pros on both sides of the football, all those Pro Bowl guys, great offensive line, A.J. Brown, all of these guys. You hold that team to 13 points in your building and lose? Why? Why did you lose? Because Josh Allen didn't think that the flat route to the tight end, to the third tight end was good enough. He bypassed that and said, let me see what I got downfield. Nothing downfield. So now you go back to that, to the flat. It's not there because Zach Ball's closing in. And now you got pressure on you. You get hit, instead of just taking a sack or throwing the ball out of bounds as the pressure gets there, you try to throw the ball at the last second. It's ruled a fumble. The ball goes, 40 yards backwards or 30 yards or whatever. And what happens? Philly picks it up. They get down the field. We give them the ball at our 40. And they go in and score a touchdown. Then on 3rd down and 10, later on that game, Josh takes like a 20-yard sack. So even if we wanted to kick a field goal there, we don't get it because we got a punt now. Because you took a 20-yard sack that you didn't need to take. Just smoked it down. Just get rid of the football, bro. It's fine. Throw it away. You score a touchdown. and go for 2 instead of kicking the field goal, the extra point for overtime. Right? Shakir's wide open. Josh Allen misses him in the back of the end zone. Not pressure, not a ton of pressure. He's rolling out to his left. The ball is there. I mean, the play is there to be made. And he fails. Josh Allen took more sacks this year than he did last year.
Mm-hmm.
He had the least amount of throwaways. Probably the least amount of throwaways in his career. Like, they only had like 13 or 14 throwaways this year. Why? Throw the ball away, dog. Throw the ball away. It's okay. The defense is actually okay.
Yep.
And
you know what? You know what else I'm tired of hearing about?
I'm laying this season at the feet of Josh Allen.
Yep. The other thing, listen, they'll say, well, Josh is such a competitor. Listen, Josh is a competitor. I will never question Josh's heart. Okay. But that's not, he's trying to do too much. Well, he should know better. Again, this is football. It's part of who he is as a professional. You have to just get rid of the ball to live another down. These things should be instinctful at this point. And maybe there's something to this and maybe leads to something later in our show that we're going to be speaking about, but
we're not doing that. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah.
Leave that up there, though. Leave that up there. I'm sorry, Matt. Not buying this. Because Josh Allen won an MVP playing within the confines of the offense last year, with worse receivers last year than he has this year. So he trusted the offense last year. And when he did, he won an MVP. We were the 2 seed. And the only reason we're the 2 seed is because the Chiefs happened to be 15-2 and they were 12-0 in one-score games last year. So this year, I hear this thrown around that he doesn't trust what's in front of him. He doesn't trust what he's seeing in front of him. He doesn't trust the guys that are in front of him. And no, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that that's your point, Matt. I'm not. I'm not saying that that's your point. But I've heard the excuse that, well, Josh doesn't trust the guys. He doesn't trust the wide receivers. He doesn't trust the pass catchers. Well, tell me what happened when we played week 1 against the Ravens. He trusted them then. He trusted both the receivers then. He trusted Palmer. He trusted Keon Coleman. He trusted Shakir. He trusted all those guys then. What about when we played the Chiefs and he had an 85% completion percentage? He trusted them then.
Mm-hmm.
He trusted them then. When we played against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we had 6 touchdowns. He trusted his receivers then. We came back against the Patriots. He trusted the receivers then.
Mm-hmm.
They made plays. That's just it. So I can't give that grace to the quarterback who had a worse wide receiver core last year. He trusted them enough to have the most efficient season of his career, leading to an MVP. Can't give him that grace this year. Because it's not like you didn't know that the offense worked. It works.
Mm-hmm.
It worked.
Yep.
It worked.
Mm-hmm.
It's baffling to me. And now the fallout from a season where Josh was hot and cold all year long. I can point to every single loss outside of the Eagles game, and really just I'm just going to throw the Eagles game in there because you take a 20-yard sack on 3rd and 10 that when you're in field goal range, you might as well turn the ball over. because that's a punt that didn't need to happen. I can point to every loss this season for the Buffalo Bills and say Josh Allen has the lion's share of the blame for every single loss. Every single one of them. Lion's share of the blame. And who gets held accountable for it? Sean McDermott loses his job after the Denver Broncos game. The post game the post game press conference from this Denver Broncos divisional game. Josh Allen is crying. I feel like I let my team down. I feel like I let these guys down. You did. You did. And it's really unfortunate because the path to the Super Bowl was lined not with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. The path to the Super Bowl was lined with Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, and Drake May or CJ Stroud. I get it. The Denver Broncos, the number one defense in the league, they led the NFL in sacks. Patrick Surtain's a dog. Nick Benito's a dog. Zach Allen, dog. They got guys over there. We moved the football on them like they were regular. We moved the football on them like they were regular.
449 total yards. 449 total yards. That's elite. I mean, that should be enough.
We moved the football on them like they were regular. Because I knew we could do it. We talked about this last week, Beyond.
Yep. A lot of things you said you called, and I
turned the ball over. That's it. Only way.
Yep.
I said Cook's going to have a good game. Josh is going to be able to throw the football on his defense because they will play zone. And if they don't play zone and they play man, you can still get them. You can still get their coverage, guys, even in man. You can still get them. And we lose because we lost the turnover battle 4-1. Sean McDermott gets fired. I didn't see that coming. I don't think any of us saw that coming. If you saw it coming, I mean, I will say this. There were other people, there were fans of other teams that said, you know, hey, if you guys lose this game, coach might get fired. I'm like, nah, they ain't gonna fire McDermott, man. No way. No way.
Yep.
Sure enough, Sean McDermott got fired. My initial thoughts to Sean McDermott getting fired is, well, when is Brandon Beane getting the axe too? Because they came in together. They gotta go together. Because if we're gonna blame McDermott for the defense never doing what they needed to do in the playoffs and some of his bad coaching decisions, then what about the GM who drafted the players that either couldn't be on the field, signed the players that either couldn't be on the field, or when they got on the field, made mistakes to, you know, on the defensive side of the ball or whatever, to put us in the position that we're in? What about him? Why isn't he out of here? Well, we found out. Brandon Beane is being retained. Not only is he being retained, but he's getting more responsibility. He's now in charge of football operations for the Buffalo Bills. Well, I was beside myself. I was beside myself when I saw that. And I said, ain't no way this dude gets to keep his job. All these draft picks that we've had, the failure to get a pass rush, the failure to get a certified field stretcher, There's no way this guy keeps his job. How? Why?
And he not only keeps his job, gets a promotion.
It's a promotion. How? Why? Man, they did Sean dirty. It was a poll that was taken by a local news station in Buffalo. Bills Mafia. Do you think it was right that Sean McDermott was fired? 95% said no. 4% said yes. 1% was undecided. Social media was on Bean's neck.
Mm-hmm.
On Bean's neck. And then there was the press conference announced.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a press conference with Terry Pegula and Brandon Bean. We're going to talk about the next direction and all this other stuff. Whatever. So I'm tuned into it to the press conference. Terry Pegula comes out and says, and mind you, before this press conference, I'm thinking to myself, I need to hear that they came out and they said, Sean McDermott, what I wanted to hear was, we thank Sean McDermott for his service, but after years and years of failure, we felt like we needed to go in a new direction. We felt like there needed to be a new voice. We felt like there needed to be a change, a shakeup in the organization. And his imprint on this roster has not been good enough. His control of this roster has not produced a roster good enough to win or get to a Super Bowl. That's what I wanted to hear. What I heard was Terry Pegula walk in and say, I fired Sean McDermott because of the loss in Denver. And I was shocked. You mean to tell me that you fired him off of one game? This game was the game that put you over the edge. Not 12 men on the field, right? Not 13 seconds. Not 27-10 in the snow against Cincinnati, and they doing snow angels in our building. No. None of those. None of those. The game against Denver, where the quarterback had 4 turnovers, 3 in regulation. The team had 5. Actually, I'm not even going to put this on the whole team. The quarterback had 4. James Cook had 1. 5 turnovers. I was shocked that they came out and actually said that. What were your thoughts? Like when you listen to the press conference, Beyond, what were your thoughts?
A lot. I mean, there's so many things to unpack from this press conference, and sham is a great word right there. I think you said it really well today in our space about it's alarming, right? What we heard today in this press conference. You know, there's so many things to go off of, but one of the things that really bothered me is when Pegula talked about when he was asked, when did you decide to remove Sean McDermott as head coach? When I went to the locker room, I had a vision, or I guess it was in the heat of the moment. Let me tell you something, Whittle. After this game, and Matt Dygert, our fearless leader in here, can tell you, I was done with everything, done with sports. I was on a rampage after this game. A few too many cocktails, of course. Right? The emotions were flying. 42 years of being a fan, just seeing the way we lost that game. I'm done with sports. I'm done with everything. If I made decisions right then and there, Whittle, they were not going to be good. Okay? They were going to be poor decisions. If you're telling me a billionaire owner decided after a game and he goes to see Josh and he's crying at his life, He said, you know what? I'm just going to get rid of McDermott. If that's the way he's operating, Whittle, we have a major problem at One Bills Drive right now. Major problem. First of all, I think it's complete I think it's complete BS. First of all, I think this was decided a long time ago. When he was asked a question, he should have said, while this was a very difficult decision, I'm going to keep that in-house, and and then drive the question towards being focused on winning a Super Bowl. You don't have to answer and give so much information. And then the Keon Coleman situation. Are you kidding me? This guy's 22 years old. Okay, he's made mistakes, right? But we were all 22 at one point. This guy basically takes it upon himself to throw Keon Coleman right under the bus and then throw McDermott right under there as well. I mean, it's a multi-fatality accident he had after that. When I heard that, I almost fell over when he said that about Keon Coleman, that it was the coach. You don't say anything about that. You say nothing. Keep that in-house. We don't need to hear that stuff. Even if you believe in Brandon Beane, that's fine, but you don't throw Keon Coleman. What do you think other players, Whittle, I want to ask you, what do you think other players, agents, when they hear Terry Pegula say that, right? Like if the Bills want to ask about A.J. Brown, right? We're hearing all these whispers about A.J. Brown. You don't think A.J. Brown hears stuff like that and thinks, hey, what is Terry Pegula going to say about me if something goes wrong if I come to Buffalo? You don't think players talk? You don't think agents talk? That infuriated me to no end, Whittle, probably more than even the loss at this point. And it really makes me wonder. And, listen, this is why I have my Sabre hat on today, because as Matt knows, I could look at things from a Sabre and Bill's point of view with this owner, right? And we've seen the good and the bad with Pegula. Terry Pegula, if he speaks 5 minutes, it's usually about 4 minutes too long. He's not an eloquent speaker, Whittle. He's not, he's a billionaire, not because he speaks. Okay. So he just needed to be very short and sweet, give his flowers to McDermott, put his full support to Beane, and get the heck out of the way and let Brandon Beane do the rest of the talking. But that was my first reactions on Terry Pegula, and I'm still flabbergasted. And the other thing, Whittle, is you probably felt this. How many friends of mine that are not Bills fans say, wow, what's up with your owner? What's going on over there? I couldn't believe these comments. Like, they were shocked. Miami fans, Jet fans, and they weren't even trolling. They're like, that was terrible. And that also speaks volumes to me, on where we stand. I mean, I certainly hope this is just a bump in the road and things settle down as we look towards, who's going to be coach, and maybe things will, Whittle. We'll see who they bring in and how the structure of it's going to look. But I'll tell you what, that I agree with you. The word alarming is without a doubt probably the word of the night that I have in my mind.
Yeah, any decision made in the heat of the moment when you're emotional usually is the wrong decision. And there's usually consequences that come with it that are lasting a lot further than they're a lot long. They're longer lasting than what you probably want them to be or expect them to be. I was shocked. I was alarmed, and I felt very uneasy about the future of this organization listening to the press conference today. The shot that was taken at Keon Coleman, you just don't say that. And Terry Pegula went out of his way to bring that up, right? He goes out of his way and says, hey, because the question was asked to Beane, not Terry Pegula. And Terry takes, hey, the coaching staff wanted him. That the coaching staff wanted the draft.
Yeah.
That was not Brandon Beane's, top choice. It's like, dog, like you didn't need to say that at all. Like, you could have just let Beane answer the question. And that's what Bill Centric is saying. That's a great point. Terry should have just been quiet. He didn't have to say anything right there. You could have just been quiet. Exactly. That was unacceptable.
Yep. Could not agree, dog. Could not agree more.
After Sean McDermott was fired, you saw the outpouring of love from some of the players. There was obviously Jordan Phillips. Who else? I think
Leonard Dion had
something.
Gabe Davis had a nice thing. Yeah.
Yep. So some of the guys came out and they made their post about how,
Taryn.
this was wrong and Sean should have been fired, yada yada. Ty Johnson, yeah. These guys came out and they got behind that coach. They got behind McDermott. Which is what I expected, I expect to happen. But man, like if you really want to lose a locker room quickly, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Because it's not that you made the decision, because I do think that there's cause to make the decision to fire Sean McDermott. But you just got in front of the world and told us that you did it based on that one game where actually the defense played well enough to win. And it was your quarterback who kind of pissed the game away. All of those turnovers, putting the ball all over the field. Now I listened to Bean when Bean was speaking, and he says, me and Sean, work together in Carolina, and I'm, fond of that, of that experience that we had, and that experience that we lived and created. And he was very, very cautious with his words, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there wasn't a big, we formed a bond that's unbreakable. We'll remain friends. Da, 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 da. He was classy. I wish him the best. He did a great job for us, and he's going to be a great coach somewhere else, and he's going to be successful somewhere else. Classy, but not what I expect to hear after 9 years in a position that he got you, and then coming from a spot where y'all worked together for however long it was, 8 years, whatever it was. I expected a little more, and I didn't get it, which kind of raised my antenna a little bit. Like, I feel like Sean McDermott kind of got snaked out of his job,
Mm-hmm.
and the fallout was. Go ahead.
No. I think a lot of us Bills fans, we speculated about Sean McDermott for how long in spaces, right? I mean, we know these people that shall not be named that have been calling for McDermott for years, right? And we even said, like, sooner or later could happen. I just think it's the manner that they went about this and just the details that they provided has just made this messy, right? If they took the high road, and our good friend Dale said it today, be boring today. You didn't need to make this kind of excitement. I know the Bills fans are wanting information and stuff, but it's high road time. It's praise Sean McDermott, praise his family, just like they started. Just leave it at that. Say, the details we're going to leave in-house on these decisions that we make, but we take it very seriously. And our whole goal is to get the Buffalo Bills the Lombardi Trophy, and we're moving forward with it, and start moving it towards that conversation. Which we're going to have
like
our
Beyond.
What's that?
You felt like Terry Pegula came in there and put his penis on the table.
Yeah.
To show everybody how big it was.
Well, yeah, or trying to compensate. But did I say that? But yeah, I did. But that's, you know what I mean? But that's basically right. It's like he put him out there as, listen, we always say there's a difference between the M's in the world and the B's in the world. We know what we're talking about. Millionaires versus billionaires. They walk different. They look different. You just know, right? When you see a billionaire walking down the street, or you just know they're different. They're not, there's only 3,000 of them in the world. Just think about that.
Ain't no billionaires walking around my neighborhood.
No, even of mine here, Whittle. Not really. I mean, if I go
There's
to
a couple millionaires where I work. There's a couple millionaires where I work, but no billionaires down there. That's for sure.
I have to go to the hills, not to the gardens around here to find some billionaires. But even that's a little sketchy. Where you going to find them, right? But there's only 3,000 plus billionaires in the world, and our owner's one of them. Just think about how rare that really is, and it's just. I don't know if his heart was in the right place, but I don't think it was a heart situation. I think he was making a statement and saying, I'm, and again, I can't imagine how that resonates with the team, how it resonates. I mean, I think Brandon Beane's going to have to do a lot of cleanup behind the scenes here. I don't know how you feel about it. You don't think Keon Coleman's agent is going to be in contact with Brandon Beane this week, or it hasn't been already, or haven't been things said? I say, what's going on with my client there? Why is this being said? Hey, by the way, just scored a touchdown on Saturday in the playoff game. Say what you want about Keon Coleman, he did produce, he did help you out, right? So, and yeah, I'm with you, dog. I wish they would walk around my way. I keep playing that Powerball, so if I could ever win the billions, maybe I could take his claim stake from him. We could run this thing right. But be that as it may, it was a very disappointing press conference for the most part. And again, leads to questions about Brandon Beane. Do you think that Brandon Beane may step down as GM at some point and they bring somebody else in to be the general manager?
No, he spoke on that.
Oh, he did. Okay, I had to leave for a call for that, so I didn't quite hear that part of it. So he
said he was going to stay on as GM, and this is where, surprisingly, I'm going to transition a little bit to. I'm going to transition a little bit into what I feel. So there were some other things that came out, but some of this stuff we're not at liberty to say, but I'll talk to you about it after. I'll talk to you about it in our recap. But I did get a sense from the things that Brandon Beane said that let me know that Sean McDermott had more input on roster composition than we probably think. And what's interesting is Terry Pegula comes out and starts off his soliloquy with, we've had a Super Bowl caliber roster. We've had a roster capable of winning a Super Bowl for a number of years now. Mm-hmm. And I know a good amount of football people who have looked at this roster and said, yeah, it's a good roster. It's not a roster that can win a Super Bowl. The only reason that you can win a Super Bowl is because the quarterback is superhuman. And if the quarterback's playing at the top of his level, there aren't many teams that can beat. That is the crux of it. I thought that was interesting because when you make that statement, you are putting a line in the sand as the owner, saying that the GM did his job and you didn't, because him and his staff built a Super Bowl roster and you didn't deliver. And I thought Terry Pegula was a little contradictory, because he said, winning games and going to the playoffs, and he made mention of the seeds that we were in the playoffs. I think it was 5, 2, 2, 3, 2, 6. He said, this is not about winning this is not about winning divisions. It's about winning a Super Bowl. We want to win a Super Bowl. And I felt that. I said, okay, I can get that with that. But then they started talking about bringing in a new coach. And the question was asked, is it Super Bowl or bust with the new coach you bring in? And Terry answered that question. He said, no, we're not going to put that type of pressure on the coach that we bring in. So which one is it, Terry? This Super Bowl or bust or not? Because I get it. McDermott's been here for 9 years. So you get him out of here, fine. But that roster you said that was good enough to win a Super Bowl, It's still the roster that we have now, minus, some, obviously there's going to be some offseason changes and moves. So why not the next coach? Why not? He needs to get us to a Super Bowl. Whoever that coach is, they need to get us to a Super Bowl. Now, when you look at these drafts, when you look at these moves, you look at how well we've done in rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7 of these drafts, and how rounds 1 and 2 have been kind of spotty, even 3 to this point.
Iffy. Yeah, iffy is a good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta think, bro. I've never seen Sean McDermott in the draft room on day 3 of the draft. Never.
That is true.
I don't even remember seeing Bean in the draft room, but I know that's Bean staff in there. I know that. I haven't seen the OC in there. I haven't seen the DC in there on day 3. I've seen them I've seen them make some great picks on day 3. Jackson Hall was a day 3 pick.
Yep.
Dawson Knox was a day 3 pick.
Yep.
No, Dawson Knox, I think, was the 3rd round pick. Was
third
third
round.
or 4th?
Yep, third. Third round
That's
from
day
Ole
2.
Miss, right? Yeah.
That's day 2. Day 2, my bad. Christian Benford. Yeah, Christian Benford. We know that.
One of the best.
Ray Davis.
Yep.
Deion Walker.
Even all the way back to Taron Johnson, right? He was a late J3 pick too, right?
Round pick. 1st round pick.
Yep.
Same year as Josh Allen. We got guys in that 4th round. Gabe Davis, 4th round pick.
Khalil Shakir, 5th round pick.
5th round pick.
Really good draft picks.
Guys. Yeah. You're getting good guys. Even the UDFAs they pull in, and good players. Van der Mark, he was a UDFA. Alec Anderson, UDFA.
Yeah.
Cam Lewis, UDFA. A lot of these guys, man, pulling these guys in, and they're playing, they're giving us excellent snaps when they come in.
Yep. Whittle, it feels like that Pegula almost said, I need an excuse to tell why I am keeping Brandon Beane, because remember, a lot of people like yourself and myself and others question why we're keeping Brandon Beane along with Sean McDermott, and he says, well, here's what I'm going to tell him. I'm going to tell him that we had the roster, that we feel Brandon Beane's our guy. Again, these are details he should have not even said much at all about, right? Even if he believes it, we don't need to hear it, right? Externally, right? Again, you just reiterate that I have all the confidence in the world of Brandon Beane to formulate a championship roster and find our next coach going forward. And, Sean, thanks for everything. That's it. He less was more today, Whittle. That's really the theme of today. And I think he just thought, I have to give him something. No, you don't have to give him anything. You're a billionaire, for crying out loud. You own the football team. He didn't owe us specific, even if he did. I think he just thought of these things. I really thought he thinks these things were going to stick. And then the whole thing about, remember they asked about the report came out and says, I didn't know anything about that, about how weeks ago. So he probably says, let me just tell him I thought of it on the fly after the Denver game. So that, it was so messy. It was just there was no reason for him to give all that information. And I'm still flabbergasted. I have never been this stunned after a Bills press conference in all the years I've been a fan. Truthfully.
Yeah.
This incompetence hasn't even hit the Sabres at this level, if you could believe that. There's other reasons Sabres were incompetent, but I've never seen a press conference from Terry Pegula about the Sabres.
That's a great term, incompetence. That's a great term. And this is why, after that press conference, I felt a little bit better about the decision that was made. Once I sat and, we kind of talked in the space, about what was done and the path and all these different things. One thing that stuck out to me was Brandon Beane saying, the decisions that we're making, like he said, like, well, we're the primary goal is to protect Josh Allen, right? Primary goal in some of these decisions that we make is to protect Josh Allen. And he was talking about in roster the roster. He was talking about building that offensive line, getting the run game, et cetera, et cetera. Then I thought about it. The goal here is to protect Josh Allen. That's the cash cow, right? Not Sean McDermott. Cash cow was Josh Allen. He's the reason this franchise is a Super Bowl contender every year. And Sean McDermott is an excellent head coach, an excellent defensive mind. And over the last few years, Josh Allen has been stripped away of some of the things that made him great. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a results guy. So we scoring 30, we scoring 30. I don't care if we kicking 10 field goals. We scoring 30 points a game, we scoring 30 points a game. That's not enough to get over the hump. If you scoring 30 in the playoffs, like it's going to have to be like an exciting 30. Like a 30 that like if you're like that offensive production got to be the type of offensive production that tells the other team, yo, we might have to scrap what we doing because they on one right now. We got to match. We got to go band for band with them. We got to go bar for bar. We can't try to play this game on our speed because they're playing at a different level. They're playing at they're on a different wavelength than what we expected. And on top of that, in order for you to win the Super Bowl, you have to win at least 3 games in the playoffs. That means you need 3 straight games from Josh Allen at peak level Josh Allen. I'm talking about 27 of 31 for 283 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air, no interceptions, 7 carries for 44 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's the type of we need that. We need that, or we need that, or at 80% of that. 3 straight games. That's what you need to win the Super Bowl. How do you get there? Because we haven't seen that since Brian Daboll, who currently is not a head coach, who's been shopping his services around for a head coach position or offensive coordinator position. Now, they were asked, is this a true, Brandon, is this a true head coaching search, or do you already have a candidate in mind? No. We don't have a plan. It must be July. Julier. In order to win the Super Bowl, we need Josh Allen at his best. Josh Allen was at his best and his most dangerous with Brian Daboll. He was also that was like a controlled rage, like Smart Hulk. He was like Smart Hulk with Brian Daboll. You got all the superhuman powers controlled. Very few outbreaks. And on top of that, I don't want to have a young guy that is looking to make his next position off of Josh Allen.
Yeah.
We're 3 years he's in the system as an OC. Next thing you know, he's getting head coach and he's out of here. So I'm not saying that Brian Daboll is the head coach, but if you want to get the best out of Josh Allen, you need a Brian Daboll in that building.
Yeah.
If you want to get real creative and blend the passing creativity of a Brian Daboll with the balance of a balanced offensive effect, with a balanced offensive attack, you need somebody who understands that type of game plan. You need somebody that understands that type of offense. You know who has a pretty balanced attack, who usually has a pretty balanced attack? Sean Payton. You know who works for Sean Payton? Davis Webb. You know who Davis Webb used to be?
Yep.
You know who Davis Webb used to be? He used to be the backup quarterback in Buffalo when Brian Daboll was the offensive coordinator. Yep. He was the third quarterback.
And guess what else he is, Whittle? An FOJ, as we call it, friend of Josh.
Friend of Josh. Mm-hmm. He's also considered to be one of the brightest offensive minds, young minds in the NFL right now. We're talking about him as an up-and-coming riser. Now, you also run into another problem. This roster is currently built for a Sean McDermott style defense. What is that? What is that, you ask, Brian? No problem. I'll tell you. A Sean McDermott style defense is a base nickel defense. It's a 4-2-5. 4 down linemen, 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs, 2 boundary corners, a nickel, free safety, and a strong safety. What coaches out there run that on the defensive side? I'm glad you asked. Leslie Frazier runs that. You know who Leslie Frazier is right now? He's in Seattle.
Yes, he is.
The assistant head coach. You know who he used to be? The defensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was a general manager that just got charged with taking over the football operations for a franchise that just lost a beloved head coach by the locker room, and I wanted to save that locker room from falling astray, and I knew that I needed to overturn my defense. I knew that I needed young players to come in and be taught how to play the position, whatever it is, whether it's defensive back, linebacker, defensive tackle. I would probably go get a coach that's familiar with the building, familiar with some of the guys on the roster, and can utilize the personnel. Because let's be honest, Josh is 30. I don't have time to take 2 years and rebuild this defense for an odd front. I don't have time for that. Because I don't want to continue to waste any more years of Josh Allen's elite level of play. I don't want to waste any more. So there are some things that you need on this roster. You need another corner. You definitely need another boundary corner, because I don't believe we're going to get Trey White back. And even if we do, we may get Trey White back, right? That gives you 3, because we don't know what's happening with Dorian Strong. But you need another corner to play, so you don't have to put a Dane Jackson level of player out there, right? You're going to need a nickel. Taron Johnson's getting older. He's a little slower. Some of those interceptions that he would get are now pass deflections. Some of those pass deflections he used to get are now receptions that he's making tackles on. So you got to get a guy. You got to have a plan. Jordan Poyer was starting safety for us. He had a bad hammy. He couldn't go. That hurt us as well because we had to throw Darnell Savage back there for a play, and he got cooked for a touchdown. But you need another safety to pair with Cole Bishop, who's rounding out to be a really good player. Well, those guys got to be taught. They got to learn. Not only do they have to learn, and they've got to learn how to play, for the Buffalo Bills. Well, what better guy to bring in than the former DB and Leslie Frazier, who's an excellent teacher. Excellent teacher. I got Cole Bishop, the new safety that you draft. I still got Cam Lewis, who's there. He's not a young guy, yeah. I got Christian Benford, who's really good, but we can always learn more. Maxwell Harrison's young.
Yep.
Dorian Strong comes back. He's very young. The backup nickel, whoever that's going to be. Still got Jordan Hancock on the roster. We got to figure out what we're going to do with him as well. We're talking about like 7 guys that need to come in and be taught. We've got to overturn that linebacker room. We're not getting Shaq Thompson back. He's a Bean guy. I mean, he's a McDermott guy. I don't think we're getting Shaq back. Shaq's gone. We may get Matt Milano back. Maybe
Milano may follow McDermott too. Milano may follow McDermott.
Milano may follow McDermott. McDermott drafted him. He may follow McDermott. So in the event that we do lose those 2 linebackers, we got a lot of work to do because it's just Dorian Williams, maybe, who left the game with a neck injury after the first play. I don't know whether I don't know what the issue is with him. We haven't heard anything on that. Terrell Bernard, who's had a couple of he had a really good year, then he had half a good year, and then he tailed off at the end of the year, and then the last year was just bad. Not a good year for him. There were certain spots where he flashed, but for the most part, it just wasn't a good year. You got to get some more linebackers. You got to get some guys in there, and some young guys too. You got to get some young guys in there, and they got to learn how to play in a nickel defense. They got to learn how to play in these zones. Like they have to understand their zone drop. They got to understand where they need to go in certain situations, how to play in certain situations on defense, where they need to be, where they need to position themselves so that they can either be a help to one of their teammates or they can be set to be in the right position and position themselves to where when they're getting help, they're in the right spot to make it very difficult for a completion. Like all of these different things have to be taught. Go get a professor. Go get a young guy. I mean, not a young guy. Go get a guy who does this, who can teach the game. That's Leslie Frazier. We still need help on the defensive line. And I know everybody wants to think Leslie Frazier is what you saw in 21 and 2022 and 2019. 2019 defense was actually really good, but 2020 and 2021 and 2022 are the ones that stick out the most because everybody's like, oh, I hate this soft zone. We're not aggressive enough. Go watch what Leslie Frazier's defenses in Minnesota looked like before he came to Buffalo. They were nickel based. They were even front, and they were aggressive. They got after the quarterback. They took the ball away. He's fine. That's how you save this. That's how you save this franchise. That's how you don't miss a beat.
Yep.
Get the locker room back. And we've also talked about something else. Sean McDermott built a great culture here. That's no question.
Yep.
There was no edge. Like the edge really wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like the edge really was. He was too nice. Some of these guys are too nice.
We need a couple demons in this room.
A couple of demons.
Yeah.
You know what? You know the first one I want? I want the head coach to be a demon.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want the head coach to be a demon. I want him to be a guy that is looking to run through your chest. Whether you decide to move or not, he's running through you to wherever the next destination is. That's the guy I want. I want a guy that's going to coach this team that wants to put 55 up every night, like a Ben Johnson. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ben
Oh man.
Johnson would have been great if we moved on last year.
Okay, so having said that, Whittle, who I know it's early, this is all kind of fresh for all of us. Who would you target? Like who? And just for fun, and I'm going to show you something afterwards on some odds on what we currently have out there. But I'm just curious what you would be your first choice right now.
Head coach Brian Daboll, offensive coordinator Davis Webb, defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier.
Ooh.
That is
Stabilizes the
what I
org.
want.
Yeah, stabilizes things.
Stabilize the organization. Get your hands on some of those veterans that were here for Frazier. You give them a sense of security and continuity by bringing a guy like Frazier in there and Dayball.
Yep.
You still got Gabe Davis coming back. I mean, he's going to be a free agent, but when Gabe is healthy, you don't think he wants to play for Dayball?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's probably the best thing. And Steve chiming in, Davis Webb. That's one of my choices too. I just don't know if the Bills are
Davis
in
Webb's
a spot
30.
where, but remember how we talked about Whittle, how Josh Allen is going to get some GMs fired because everybody's looking for the next Josh. Well, Sean McVay is going to get some GMs fired too because everybody's looking for the next Sean McVay. And they may think that Davis Webb. And listen, he be one of those guys. Just for fun, Whittle, I bet on Kalshi. I'll show you a little thing here. Here are the current odds as of tonight on what the public thinks. Brian Daboll, your guy, is at the top. Yep, heavy favorite. You see Clint Kubiak, Seattle OC. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like that's a lateral move in terms of offense. Joe Brady. What do you think about Joe Brady? Would that also be a stabilizer for you, or you don't feel the same, or you feel like maybe he's more of a too nice of a guy? Like maybe you need a Brian Daboll at that point that brings that edge that we're kind of looking for.
The last few seasons since Brian Daboll left, I've watched Josh Allen sit on the sideline after a turnover or after a score or whatever, after a punt, after a missed throw. I watched him sit on the bench by himself. Nobody's talking to him, nothing. I don't like that.
Me neither.
I want 13 seconds, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
I want the maniac coming off the field after throwing a 30-yard rope to Gabe Davis for a touchdown. I want him to come off the field and go to his defense and say, "Go get me the ball back."
Yep.
I'll go get another one. Go get the ball back. I'll go get another touchdown. Go get the ball back from me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we're going to march down this field and score again. Go get the ball. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want him to take the field I want him to take the field with the officer and tell him, I don't care what their ranking is on the other side. I don't care who they have in their huddle. I don't care how many accolades this other team has. I don't care how good their defensive coordinator. They ain't us. They not us. Everybody else that steps on this field with us every week. That's the Josh Allen I want. And that's the one we had with Daboll. I haven't seen another coach from McDermott all the way down to whatever quarterback coach it was. OC, quarterback coach, whatever. Nobody has been able to get out of Josh Allen what Daboll was able to get out of Josh Allen. And I'm not just talking about on the field. I'm talking about from a mentality, from a leadership standpoint, from a competitor standpoint. I haven't seen that fire. I haven't seen it in a while. I miss it. I need it back. That's why I want Dayball.
Yep. I could get on board with
55 on everybody.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That is true. This wasn't a bad choice either for DC. Schwartz is a good DC as well. I don't.
He's an excellent DC.
I would not mind that either. That would be a solid choice.
Schwartz's defense plays a lot more man than we do. Mm-hmm. We don't have the man. We don't have man-to-man corners.
Yeah, that requires some more roster
easier
construction.
Fix. That is an. I will admit that I will agree that is an easier fix. That is something you could probably change over, in a single offseason. You make a couple of trades because at that point you would have to move on from Maxwell Harrison and probably Christian Benford, even though Christian Benford is physical enough where I think you can still do it, but you got to go get another press man guy for the other side, and you need a corner. You need a nickel that can do that as well. You probably got to move on from Cole Bishop too, because you need a safety that's better. That's more coverage based safety, a more man coverage, aggressive, safety. Maybe Cole can do it. I don't know, but I don't know. I think you can get it done a lot faster than it is to change to an odd front. But yeah, I like Schwartz as well. Hey, dog, you gotta hit me up, man. Hit me up. Send me DM me your number. I'm gonna give you a call probably tomorrow and tell you I got a lot to talk. We got a lot to talk about. But yeah, like that's where I'm at, man. Mm-hmm. I don't have time for a rebuild.
Yeah. That's the interesting part. There are intriguing choices like Davis Webb, and that's something I've thought about too. And I could see, I think it's Dable or Davis Webb. I feel like it's one of these two guys. That's my first thought on this. I feel like if you're going to go with someone who has experience, I think it's Dayball. I don't think we're going Clint Kubiak. I really don't. I don't. There's just unknowns there. We don't. Right, he comes from another organization. I feel more comfortable with guys that have some relationship with Josh that understand some dynamics of Buffalo. I think that's something that Bean and Pegula are going to look for in their next leader. And I think really, Dable's from Buffalo, so that's something else to consider. So that's a pretty seamless transition there as well. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be quite fascinating. Steve says if it's Patriots Rams Super Bowl, and I shudder at the thought of that as being the Super Bowl. We'll have our coaches. I'll just be watching Bad Bunny in halftime and go to sleep. We'll have our coaches by this time next week. So that could be, possible. So we'll see how that goes. Yep. It's Dable, Josh relationship, Pegula relationship, Buffalo relationship. Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm at too. And I'd be okay with it. I mean, I still, question. Listen, I think McDermott leaving it's business, right? You said it before. We talked about it. Andy Reid. I mean, I was at Tony Dungy's last game as a
feel like business.
No, but these things happen to great coaches, right? Like I was at Tony Dungy's last game in Philly live in Philadelphia when they lost that wild card game, and then the Buccaneers got rid of Tony Dungy. You're like, wait a minute, they're going to Tony Dungy. I mean, he's done a great job with Tampa. Now they get the Super Bowl next year. We're hoping for the same results. I mean, sometimes really good coaches or great coaches do get fired, and it's the unfortunate part of the business. And I wish Sean well. I'm 98-50. This is the only team that's won playoffs games 7 straight years, Whittle, that has not won a Super Bowl. The other teams on the list have won 2 or more. Most of them won 3. We're the only ones that didn't even play in a Super Bowl. Speaks to how great we've been the last 7 years, but also adds to the first haven't we at least made a Super Bowl at this point. So
we've been great.
Especially this year.
We've also fallen short. It speaks to the failure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, our point differential is over 900. No team is in since 2020 is over 600. We're plus 900 plus. I mean, the numbers are staggering, right? What this team has accomplished over this decade. We got the best record this decade. there's so many things, but the fact that we haven't even appeared in the Super Bowl, I can understand why they did it. I just think the reasons that Pegula gave today were just pure BS. Period. I mean, it was fluffed. There's nothing I can say about what Pegula did today that was really good. So that's all I had.
I don't believe for a second that he decided to fire him just after the Denver game. I don't believe that. I believe that this was already a decision. There were conversations. Hey, this is the goal. You need to get at least here or it's over. I think that was something that was expressed ahead of time. I think the team knew, which would explain the outpouring of emotion from not just the quarterback, but the rest of the team in the locker room. By the way, how'd you feel about that? The tears.
Honestly, it was a little emotional. I think I got more emotional when I saw Deion Dawkins' reaction to Josh's tears. Right. And it speaks to how much they really love this guy. Right. It speaks to, like we said, that you could tell that these guys really care for each other. Heck, Brandon Cooks was a mess. And he's only been with the team for 2-3 months. Right. And you could see the closest in the room. And I think that's all great. And I agree with you, Whittle, but I do agree. We need some demons in here. We need a couple more to mix it up, right? That maybe take things to that next level to say this is unacceptable in those moments, right? So, I mean, the tears I think they were genuine from Josh. So what is it? They handed this like the Jets. Yeah. Honestly,
and why did they have to announce Bean's promotion at the same time? That's salty. They could have waited a month. That's why I didn't feel like business. It felt personal.
It was personal. It was personal. I'll tell you what, speaking of the Jets, they were talking about this on WFAN. My buddy was telling me today. If I was owning the Jets, imagine if they just swooped in and hired McDermott right now. I mean, could you imagine the double edge that would do? It would inject some juice into the Jets and also take a swipe at one of your biggest rival in the division right now.
Yeah.
So that's pretty unbelievable. So I think that they would have fired Glenn by now for sure. I mean, I think that'd be pretty shady to fire him at this point, Whittle, but who knows? But I don't know. Went to some kind of side view or something here. I'm not sure what happened there. Did I press something maybe by accident there? There we go. Yeah, it was probably me. It was probably me getting all riled up about this press conference. But Whittle, that's all I had. Unfortunately, I must bid you farewell. Tonight, I have some things to take care of tonight on a personal level that I must attend to now. But I didn't mean to cut you.
We're going to get out of here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would tell you guys that we're gonna start talking about draft picks and the offseason, but I don't even know who the coach is yet. So we still gotta wait. But yeah, so we'll get out of here and appreciate everybody tuning in. It's over 400 of you guys.
Yeah, it's
like
great.
And subscribe. If you're following us on Twitter, tap the link in my bio. It'll take you right to the YouTube page. Please like, subscribe, hit that bell, leave a comment. It helps with the algorithm so that we get more views and this podcast gets out to more people.
Absolutely.
You hate, so don't be a
hater.
And
next week we'll, I don't even care who wins the games this weekend. I'm not even going to make predictions. Don't care. So whatever. I want
the Rams to win the Super. Like it's the Rams. The Rams win the Super Bowl. I'm good.
You know what? But I'm going to tell you this. I think Denver's got a shot Sunday. I know nobody's giving them a shot, Whittle, but I think they do.
They do.
And you know what? In fact,
Stidham doesn't suck, and they don't need a time.
Who did Stidham quarterback with? My memory stands correct.
Stidham wasn't
he a Patriot?
Auburn, I believe.
Yeah, but I think he was a Patriot too for a bit. So
Yeah.
Yep. And again, I want to thank everybody in the group chat, dog. You're the best. We love seeing you in here. And get on those spaces, man. We need you back. Even just make an appearance once in a while. I miss that energy for you, dog. I really, really do. Especially the last couple of days. Oh man, I could just hear dog in these spaces. It would have been tremendous. So Denver Rams and Rams win. You know what? I could get on board. I'm sorry, Whittle. Denver versus Rams and Rams win. I could get on board with that. That sounds perfect.
I want the Patriots to lose like on a last second bad call.
I'm not gonna laugh. I'd laugh my ass off if they lose to Denver right now. It would help with the pain of losing this game. Let's be honest on that. So, but next week we'll dive more into the coaching situation. We'll have tons to talk about, and as we go forward, we'll start.
Senior Bowl's coming up. I will
Senior
start
Bowl,
looking at.
and listen, for anybody listening for the first time, this is where Whittle gets really at next level. You think Whittle's taking it down in the offseason? Oh no, this is where it just gets started on our podcast. So, and we'll take you along the journey here as we go through the Senior Bowl, we go into the draft, and we go into free agency, and go for this. Yeah, and I'll say this. This is let's go Sabres. 16-3-1 in their last 20, by the way, Whittle. And
to break the drought.
And by the way, a miracle happened tonight. The Knicks actually want to play a basketball game. So I digress. They played Brooklyn, so they better. I'm leaving that alone. We'll circle back to that. I got to take my my lumps on the Knicks lately, so we'll digress. But I got to get out of here. Unfortunately, Whittle, I really do. So thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Look forward to next week and beyond.
All right, Bills.
Go Bills.